Today's episode is a bit of a special one because it's the last episode of, for now at least, of my stash organization series. If you missed the first two installments of this, please have a look at the description box below where I have linked a playlist. Hello and welcome back to Purls. My name is Laura and this is my channel where I talk about all of my passions. If you're new here, you're very welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. In this episode, we will find out what my plans for the rest of the year are. Obviously, now it's May and we are fast approaching June, so I thought I will stick to my plans for the second half of the year. So starting actually in May, and since I had already started with the plan in April, I've also added what I have made in April. That is going to be part of the plan. Of course, we've come a long way since the first episode of the Stash series. If you remember, I had taken out all of my yarn from all of the different places where I'm hiding it in the flat, and I have made two big piles. One of them was yarn for which I already had a plan, and one of them was yarn for which I didn't have a plan. Then I went to Ravelry and I organized all of my yarn there, so I catalogued everything, I uploaded everything which I'd never done before. I really wanted to be able to have a good look at what I have, how much I have, how much of what type of yarn, how much of what type of color I have. And also I wanted to understand how many plans I've made for this yarn, how much of the yarn actually has no plan whatsoever, so it was just an impulse buy, or maybe the plan fell through. And I've also done that. So all of that is in my series. Again, you will find the playlist link below in the description box. Now let's get into this episode. Of course, I really wanted the plan to come together and put it into action. Yes, it's a little bit late, it's already June, but since I started already a little bit late, it was almost March when I came up with this idea, thinking about doing this year. I've been wanting to do it for years. Finally, I got around to do it. So the goal for 2025 was no new yarn in 2025, apart from Advents. And again, I've made a whole episode just about Advents, which is linked below. Please go and have a look if you're interested in that topic. So the whole stash series has been actually working towards that goal. I really wanted to become more aware of what I have and what are my purchase patterns, and I really wanted to sit down and put together an actual roadmap, an actual plan for what I'm going to make with all of that. And now I realized that it's going to take me, obviously, I've always known it, but now I know a bit better about it. I know that it's going to take me a few years. So now let's look at the yarn roadmap that I put together. So my yarn roadmap for 2025. I've put together a month-by-month project calendar. I've tried to put together 3-4 different projects that I want to work on month by month, and I've tried to do a bit of a balance between things that I have already started and I need to progress on so that I don't get stuck on them, and then other things that I want to start, so new cast on, new starting new projects. Of course, this is my wish list for 2025. I only have so much time to do things, and things might shift, and that's okay. So as I mentioned, I wanted to start this roadmap in April because I've already done some work that was stash busting and gifting that is part of this, and I wanted this to be part of the whole roadmap. So if you've seen my last podcast episode, again, that's also linked below, you will already know what I've made in April, but let's summarize it again. I have made 2 toys. Both of them are by Elisa's Crochet. One of them is the Happy Hippo, and the other one is Zelda the Zebra. I've used yarn from Stash, acrylic from Stash for both of them, and is a super, let me check my notes, it's a bulky yarn, and it's James C. Brett Top Value Chunky and Stylecraft Special Chunky. As I mentioned, both of them were gifts, but there were also stash busting projects because I used yarn from Stash. Very happy about that. Then the next object was a troll hat, which is Troll by Gabriela Widmer-Hanke. And it's a hat for a toddler, for which also I've used yarn from Stash, and that yarn was Debbie Bliss Donegal Luxury Tweed. And then the last object that was in the plan for April, which was also finished in April, was the Sophie scarf, a pattern by Petit Knit. And I used a truly hooked silky fluff yarn for it, and that was a leftover, and I used it all. So that also, that's actually the best type of stash busting, because it was leftover, I used it all, that's gone. Very happy about it. Then in May, my plan was to continue a few things and start a couple of things. So I've been continuing the poncho with sleeves that, again, I mentioned in previous episodes of my podcast. And that one is a gift, but is not a stash busting project because it's a gift for my aunt. But the yarn was hers, so it was from her stash, so obviously I don't count it from mine. And for the poncho with sleeves, the plan was to progress, which I've done, and to finish the first sleeve, which we still have a few days of April. I plan to finish it. There's not much to go, so I think I'll be able to do that. Then another progress is a project that's been ongoing for a few years. Is a metered square blanket for my stepson, and I've done a few squares already, and I've done a few squares in May. So there was definitely progress there, which was the plan. And this comes from Stash, so it's gifting, but also stash busting. And it's a So Crafty Aran 7525 and is Aran weight. And that is from Aldi. Then I was planning to start two new projects. One of them was a braided bralette, a pattern by Knititude, Chantal Knititude. And I am using, because I have started it, Mayflower Cotton Merino Classic. And that is a sport weight 5-ply. I don't have much sport weight in my stash, so this is probably the only one of it, or one of the few. And that I purchased it on purpose for this pattern, so I don't consider it exactly stash busting, but obviously it will reduce the stash. The last project that I wanted to start in May is for my nephew, and he requested characters from Minecraft. And I do have a pattern, because in the past for my stepson I made a sheep from Minecraft. So I'm gonna make for my nephew the sheep, the zombie, and the character Steve. If you know more about Minecraft, you will know what I'm talking about. I don't really know much. These are characters. These appear in the game. Take my word for it. And that is a pattern by Olka Novitska from Aradia Toys, and is beautifully written. Obviously, as you can see from the picture, is very good, very detailed, very square, very as of Minecraft. So I was a bit afraid how will mine come out, but I will also put a picture of how mine came out for the one I made for my stepson. I was really happy, he was really happy, so I'm a little bit more confident about doing the sheep and also the other two characters for my nephew. And that I want to start before the end of May, so I will do my best to do that. Otherwise I will start in June. And this is stash busting and gifting also. Say hi to the lovely viewers. Oh. Okay, I'll take it out. Say hi. Say hi to the lovely viewers. For the month of June, I have been a little bit ambitious, probably a little bit over ambitious, but you will judge now. So I am planning to finish 3 things. One of them is the braided bralette. The second one is the poncho with sleeves. And then the Minecraft characters. Remember, there's 3 of them. So I want to finish all of these things. Who knows? Maybe I will be able to do it. If I don't, it's fine. It's okay. And then I also want to start 2 new things. One of them is a sheep safety blanket for a baby that is a friend's baby, and I wanted to make this, and I'm gonna make it with So Crafty Baby, which is a super bulky yarn that I got at Aldi, and it's a chenille type of yarn, so that is gonna be a stash busting project and a gifting project. It's supposed to be fairly quick to make, but I only plan to start it in June. I'll really need to finish it by August, So it's in the plan to start slowly, you know, when I get bored with other things, that's the plan. Then I'm also planning to start the Revamp Cowl by Kate Whiting Designs, and I would be using Falaisia, which is a bamboo and cotton yarn, and it's a 3-ply. And I really want to finish that by end of July when I'm going to the summer fair, because again, if you have seen my podcast, my latest podcast episode, I will be seeing there a lady who's the vendor from whom I bought that yarn, and I really like to show her the things I make with her yarn. So let's see if I'm able to finish it. And that is the yarn left over from a top I made last summer, and so that it's definitely a stash busting, a pure stash busting project like the Sophie scarf. So I'm really excited about that. Then in July, I'm taking it slightly a little bit more easy than June, mainly because I want to progress and potentially finish or going towards finishing the things that I start in June. But also I might still have some of the things that I had to finish, that I wanted to finish in June, that I still need to finish in July. So it's a little bit of a lighter month. Let's see how it goes. So for June, I will be continuing progress on the meter square blanket. I will be continuing progress on the ship's safety blanket. And then, did I say, I didn't mention, the ship's safety blanket is also a pattern by Elisa's Crochet. It's one of her 3 patterns that you can find on her blog. Then in July, I'm also starting another troll hat, this time baby size. So I finished the toddler size in 2 days. So I expect really to start and finish the baby size in 1 day, but I'm giving myself time. And it's gonna be a troll hat baby size for a little sibling of actually the recipient of the first troll hat. And let me tell you, he absolutely loved it. I will put a picture from the back, obviously, to protect the baby's, the toddler's privacy. He put it on and he wanted it on the whole day. And apparently his mom sent us a picture the day after that he was still wearing it at breakfast. He wanted to wear the hat, so he was still wearing the troll hat at breakfast. So I'm so pleased that he loved it so much. And yeah, it's a fun hat, so it's always nice to have. And obviously the mom we found out when we went there. For if you haven't seen my podcast last time, so I made this hat and also the toys, the zebra and the hippo, for a toddler, which is the son of the cousin of my partner Yanni. And we went to see them, and it was the first time that we were meeting the baby, who's a toddler, who's I think he's 15 months. So he loved the gifts, and his mom, we found out that his mom is pregnant, and we obviously don't know the sex of the new baby. So I do have that same yarn in my stash, and I am gonna make it in gray. I have a nice gray that's gonna be perfect for any baby. So it's gonna be a tiny troll hat for the baby, and it's gonna go so well together with the toddler size. You will see that in my August podcast, most probably. Let's see, maybe in the July one. Then the last thing for July, I want to finish the Revamp cowl, hopefully in time to go to the summer fair. Then August might be another slightly ambitious month, but there's lots of continuing in progress of what I had already started. So I am continuing progress with the metered square blanket. I am finishing the sheep safety blanket. And then I want to make progress with a project I don't think I have talked about yet. It's the Christmas jumper that I have started 2 years ago. It's called Julegenser Dame by Rauma Designs. It's a Norwegian pattern, so original, traditional Norwegian Christmas fair isle type of jumper. I'm using Skin Queen Sonsi Aran for it in cream and green, don't remember the exact color, you will see that in my stash, and a debonair glimmer with the sparkles. Debonair is in magenta, remember that. And so I started 2 years ago, is bottom up in the round, And I have done, well, I will put a picture here so you'll see, I've done like this much of the body, I think. So there's still a little bit to go before I separate for the sleeves. I want to finish it this year, so it's in my roadmap to be finished this year. We will see. If it's not finished, it doesn't matter, it's okay. That I want to continue in August, and you might think that's a bit of a weird time to actually want it to continue, a Christmas jumper. And obviously it's color work, so it's actually quite thick and heavy. The reason why I want to resume progress on that in August is because actually I started it in August when I was on holiday on the mountains 2 years ago, on the Alps, where I always go with my mom and my family. And I don't know, I'm not going to the Alps this year in August for different reasons, so it's okay. But I thought, oh, starting it in August is gonna remind me of the nice time that I used to spend in August in the Alps. So that's why. And also I think it's 4 months before Christmas is a good time to gather pace without getting too lost in it. Then I have the plan to finish the troll hat for the baby, which I'm pretty sure when I started I will finish it. I wanted to give myself a little bit of leeway. It's either July or August, because July might still be a busy month. So depending on that, it's gonna be either July or August, but I will finish that. If it's already finished, already done, one thing less for August. And then I want to start another project as last make for August, just starting. And that is the Full of Minis hat by Barbara Nalevko. And obviously, again, if you have seen my Advent episode, you should definitely go and watch it, because then you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Because after this, I have a few other Advent calendars that are coming up with the pattern that I actually picked in that episode, among other things. So definitely go have a look at the box below and go and watch that episode. So this Full of Minis hat will be using my one of the Advent yarn calendars that I purchased in 2021. And this is supposed to be fingering weight, but I think it's actually more of a 3-ply light fingering rather than a proper 4-ply fingering, because it's really much thinner than the other Advent calendars that I have with that same weight. And I want to start the hat possibly in August, because I want to finish it before the weather gets really cold, so that I can wear it in next winter. And these make I categorize as Advent stash busting, because I have a few Advents, so I really want to start properly using them, because I've only used a couple of them so far since I started purchasing them. Then in September, I want to progress on the meter square blanket, the Christmas jumper, and I want to finish the Full of Minis hat. And then in September, I want to start one thing, which is the Radvent cardigan by Amba O'Brien. This one will be using my Zakami Advent calendar from 2024, so the last one of the last ones. And I also had a day 25 full 100-gram skein to go with it. And this pattern is really perfect for that type of calendar. So I will be starting it in September. And it's a 4-ply and it's an Advent stash busting. Then in October, so Q4 is when I really want to kind of wrap up the year, finishing things and maybe starting things that I will be most probably be able to finish by the end of the year. And then I also put in a few things, I think one that is a long-term project, so that I occasionally I want to put a little bit of progress in it. No intention of finishing it yet, but I want to see a bit of progress. So in October, I want to finish, hopefully, let's see, depends. I wanted to calculate actually how many squares I need to make per month from the meter square blanket to finish it in October. I haven't done it yet. I'm still slightly undecided because I don't want to get stressed about it. But at the same time, I want to know if I'm on track to finish it by October or if not, just to know how to, if I need to shuffle things around, just to plan that. But yeah, in theory, in my roadmap, I want to finish the meter square blanket in October, November at the latest, because I really want to to give it to my stepson at Christmas. Then in October, I also want to continue progress on my Christmas jumper. I might be going on the mountains in October, it's not certain yet, but obviously if I'm going, I will take it with me. That will be my one project for the week. And then obviously in October, I also want to continue progressing my Radven cardigan. So I kept October mainly progressing month. So finishing the meter square blanket, also so that I can give myself time to actually finish the blanket. Because obviously once I've made all of the squares, I need to figure out what I want to do to put them together. Because I kind of want it to be kind of invisible. I don't want to have an edge around each square. I want every square to go next to each other. Because I want to put them together. Actually, I've put up a picture from Ravelry that I took from some of the squares that I made. I want to put them together in a diamond shape so that the ridge of the creases creates a diamond shape. Because of that, I don't want to have something in between. So I just want, probably I will have to sew them together, most probably. If you have any ideas or you know about some very good tutorials on how to achieve that result, please let me know in the comments, because I'm really doing a bit of research. I'm still looking for how to make them really look as smooth as possible. So as I mentioned, October will be a progress month. I will be progressing on the jumper and on the Radven cardigan, and then I have put a question mark for myself there, and also wanted to hear your opinion on it. I have done with a friend and a small group of people I knew from work, our little fiber arts club. 2 years ago we made a ghost along starting in September and finishing on the 31st of October. And this ghost along was actually lots of fun. So we gathered lots of patterns of ghosts, garlands, and scary things. Doesn't have necessarily to be a ghost. It can be a pumpkin also. However, like Halloween themed makes. And the only strict rule is that some part of it or all of it of your piece had to be made with a glow in the dark yarn, which is a lot of fun. And I did make a couple of tiny ghosts with it, and it was fun. And I wanted to make it again this year. And I just wanted to see, so I'm definitely gonna make it again with my wool friend Petra. Hi Petra. I also wanted to see if anyone else was interested. It could be a nice and fun thing to do, to have a ghost along together to count down to Halloween, which is a fun time of year. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. So that's also the reason why I kept October a little bit lighter. So I'm not starting anything new in October. Also because if I want to make the ghost along, I will be starting and finishing lots of few things, hopefully. And then November. So I want to progress on the Christmas jumper, and that will be the time when I will really realize if I can finish it by Christmas or not. I want to progress on the Radven cardigan. And then I want to start is a little fun project. So I gathered together a few patterns, which I don't remember how many. I was looking at them last night. I'll put a few pictures one after the other just next to me. So these are bookmarks, and I wanted to make a few of them to gift them to Yanni's sister, so my partner's sister. She lives in the Netherlands, and we visited her twice, and I had the most lovely week when I was there with her and her lovely family. And she did send me a few months ago a picture that she saw on Instagram of, I think it was a mouse, and I do have it somewhere among the ones that I gathered, a mouse kind of trapped in a book, the pages of a book, and it's a bookmark. I said, oh my god, this would be so lovely, can you make me one? I said, of course I'll make you one, but I'll make you more. So these are one of those tiny little fun projects that you can complete in an evening or two. It's gonna be a great stash busting project, and it's gonna be a nice gift as well. So I wanna gather a few. I want to make maybe a couple of those kind of squashed crochet animals, but also there were some very beautiful ones with flowers. I think I saw one with toadstools, and I think I also picked a Christmas themed one to use around Christmas. I want to start them in November and most probably finish them in November. So I didn't write them again for December because obviously they need to go to the Netherlands, so I want to ship them as soon as possible. But I don't want to make them before November because I have other things that are more priority and take longer than those. So that's going to be another fun project for November, and that's a stash busting and gifting. And then 2 more Advent stash busting projects. One of them is in progress, and it's the Battenberg blanket by Sandra Poole, Cherry Heart. And this uses Truly Hooked Disney Advent 2022. This is in progress. I've made already, I think, 5 colorways of it. So I'm slowly going. So I keep it in a very small pouch. So whenever I fly or I go somewhere, it's always in my bag. So whenever I get bored, I can make 1 or 2 squares. But it's a slow project, which is fine. It's also nice to know I have a reliable source of entertainment whenever I go somewhere without having to worry what to bring with me. That one is always ready and is always airport security approved, because I have all that I need in there, and I know that will definitely pass because it's just, a very blunt crochet hook. Never had any problems. So I haven't done much in the last month, 2 months, and I don't think I will have time to pick it up much. Obviously, every time I will fly or travel in the next few months, I'll take it with me, but it will not be much progress. So in November, I definitely want to progress on that. And then the last project for November will be a starting Granny Wrap by Annaboo's House. And that will also use a Truly Hooked Advent calendar from 2023. So 2 more Advent. I think it's just right, getting closer to Advent season, that I'm using actually make use of Advent from Christmas past. And lastly, in December, I tried to keep the month light because it's always a super busy month. I want to finish the Christmas jumper. I want to finish the Advent cardigan. I want to progress on the Granny Wrap. So the Granny Wrap, I want to start it in November, but at the very end of November, because I want it to be then my go-to project for Advent seasons, throughout December. And I think it will be very nice also to add Advents every day. I don't plan to use my Advents when I open them. I've never done that. I think it's too much to have to wound every day and use it every day. I know already I would not be able to remain caught up with it. So I will just open them, enjoy them, look at them prettily sitting there on some shelf or something. But I will still be using Advent, so that will be another year's Advent, and I will be doing the Granny Wrap. But I want it to be set up, and I want to be familiar with it so that I can just mindlessly sit down and do it in December. So Granny Wrap will be with that. And then the one fun project for the month will be a Christmas decoration kit. So I think I showed it in my second stash organization episode. Is a kit with cotton by Rico Design, Rico Rumi DK, and it's by Kate McCauley, the pattern, and there's these, I think, 6 super cute and fun Christmas decorations, and I think it's something that I can make through December, a little fun project, and hopefully finish them in time to use them as decorations on my tree or somewhere else in the house. That's the whole roadmap for the year. Now, disclaimer, obviously, as I said, I don't want to stress about it. I want to keep it relaxed. I wanted to make a plan because for how I am, I work much better to a deadline. So I wanted to have it all spelled out, know what I need to do. If I need to reprioritize, I know I have to. So it makes actually me feel calmer and easier, and to enjoy the process more, to know what my plan is, to know I have a plan about it. So I'm really glad I did that, but I'm not gonna stress. So life can get in the way, life happens, things might be shuffled around, some requests might come in last minute, some more babies might happen, people I know. So there's always something that comes in, some, special requests, some ideas for more gift knitting or crocheting. So some other things might end up squeezing in to the roadmap. So I will have to shuffle things around. So I'm planning to, in my podcasts every month, I'm planning to reserve a section to give the actual update on the stash busting and on the roadmap for the month. So you will always know at which point I am. If you want to follow with me, if you want to also, do your own and go along with me during the rest of the year, that would actually be very nice. Let me know if you do it. And then at the end of the year, I think I will do a stash wrap up. So we can actually see where I started and where I finished. So how much actually did I achieve in using my stash? So how much effectively stash busting happened in the year. So I think that will be really good to see. So that will happen later in the year, probably beginning of next year. So yeah, this is the plan for the rest of it. This concludes this series of my stash organization. So to summarize my roadmap in numbers, so my stash starts. So I'm gonna use, I think, because I mentioned I wanted to keep it as balanced as possible. So I've got different type of yarn, so it goes down kind of gradually and equally across all type of yarns. And also to keep it fun and interesting, I wanted a good variation of project types. So I will be working on throughout the year from April to December. 3 DK projects, 3 bulky or super bulky, 3 4-ply, 3 Aran, 2 3-ply, and 1 5-ply. Then in terms of the goal for each project that I will be working on this year, 8 will be for stash busting and gifting. So actually most of them will be doing stash busting, but they're also for gifting, which I really like. 2 are pure stash busting. 3 are using yarn that was purposefully purchased for that specific project, which is good. It means that at least sometimes I do buy yarn with a purpose. And then 3 will be Advent stash busting. So I think we should have a good result at the end of the year in terms of how much stash I used. Fingers crossed. And that was it. That was my whole roadmap and plan for the year. And this concludes our stash series. So this is our stash finale. Thank you so much for joining the whole stash journey. I really appreciated your support and you staying with me through it. I hope also I gave you a few ideas. If you were looking for some ideas, something to do, or maybe a little bit of a push to start doing it yourself. I know watching other videos of people doing this really motivated me to finally start doing it. I've been wanting to do it for years and I never really sat down and started doing something like this. So I'm really happy I did it and I'm really happy I shared it with you. Now, I would also love to know about your plans. Do you have a make list or do you work better just going with the flow? And if you have a make list, what's the next item on your list? Also, one more thing I wanted to mention, on top of linking to all of the patterns that I mentioned, I will also be linking at my Ravelry stash page so you can see what I have in there. You can see also how much of it I'm using, I'm not using, if you want to follow in between episodes. And also, if you go to Ravelry and have a look at my queue, which I will also be linking below, you will see it's very long and you will see, of course, at the very top, things that I've mentioned that I will be starting this year, and then you will see other things that are in the queue. And that will give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what I will be talking next, because I want to make an episode with 12 patterns that didn't make the final cut for this episode for this year 2025. I had so many patterns that I really wanted to make and I still want to make, but will have to happen a little bit later, so they're still in my queue, slightly deprioritized because they're not 2025 priorities, but I still wanted to talk about them. So I'm gonna make a bonus episode of this stash series just talking about 12 extra patterns, so somehow one per month of the year that really I want to make as soon as possible. So as I mentioned, next on my channel at some point I will be publishing this bonus episode with what didn't make the cut for 2025 roadmap. So very soon I will be filming and publishing my next podcast episode for my May makes, and I will be summarizing everything I made in May and in general what I've been up to in the month of May. So that's it for today. If you liked this episode, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and don't forget to turn on the notifications so you will know when I will be publishing my next podcast episode and the next bonus episode about what didn't make the 12 patterns that didn't make the cut for 2025. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye. In my crafting for 2025, which was no yarn, and that yarn was Debbie Bleach, and it's a chenille type of yarn. And then in September I want to start one thing, which is the Radvent calendar. So I want to finish the Christmas jumper, and then I want to finish the Radvent calendar. The Radvent cardigan, much better to a deadline for how I... Okay. Oh no. Oh no.